I'm Amanda Hatcher. I'm an extension agent in Duplin County, and one of my areas that I work in is nutrient management. And so sometimes I'm asked to come to a farm and calibrate a piece of irrigation equipment. So one of the things that I look at is I have a kit that I keep in my office, and it's just filled with things that I'm going to need for a calibration. So it's just a small bucket, and inside I have different colored and length flags. So I have some shorter flags and some that are longer, so I can see the flag even if the crop is high. I like to do different color flags, especially if I'm doing a solid set calibration, but a traveler is less important if it's a different color, but it might just help you to be able to distinguish between different areas of the field that you're trying to measure. Okay, so you could do some blue, purple, just different colors to help you distinguish between those areas. Another thing that I have is just a really plain school box. It just holds smaller things easier. But I have a caliper, and you can use one with a battery that's a digital caliper, or you can use just a regular one that doesn't require batteries. And you can find those a lot of times at a hardware store. I also have a pressure gauge with a P-top tube, and the tube just screws into the bottom of the pressure gauge. One thing about the pressure gauge that you need to remember is that there is oil inside the gauge, and so if you expose this to extreme temperatures for a long period of time, you're going to see it leaking, and then you're going to have to replace the gauge sooner. So what I normally do is I normally store this inside the building where it's temperature controlled. Another thing that I have is a tape measure. You can use a measuring wheel if you want, but sometimes that can be a little awkward to maneuver, especially if you're going across areas that might not be as even. But I use this is a 200-foot tape. I wouldn't go anything shorter than a 100-foot tape, but I don't think you need anything really much bigger than that. And then I usually carry a clipboard, and the clipboard has on it manufacturer's charts of what I'm going to be calibrating. It has calibration forms. It has the publication where I pull information from for the calibration, and just some scratch paper sometimes is kind of nice to keep. And then also a pen to clip to my clipboard. Another thing that I don't have in my kit that I use is my phone. And I use my phone, one, to keep time, because I have a stopwatch on it, so I'm trying to time. If I'm doing the travel speed, I'll clock the time on that. But also a calculator on your phone is really helpful. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna measure the inside of the gun opening. And what I'm measuring is the inside of the ring, the inside of the opening itself. So to check the pressure at the gun, we're going to need a pressure gauge. And this one I'm going to use as a handheld gauge with a pitot tube. And what it's going to do is we're going to hook that tube into the center of the flow in the gun. When we do that, this needle is going to move, and it's going to tell us the pressure reading at the gun. We're going to flag off how far the farthest throw is on the wetted radius and the wetted diameter. So with the gun that way, we're going to check it on one side and on the other side, and we're going to flag it every time it hits. So when it hits the farthest drop, we're going to put our flag there. We're going to let it make 2 more turns, so we'll end up with 3 flags laying down where the farthest drop has hit from the gun. Then we'll take the average of the 3, and that will be our wetted radius. We'll do the same thing on the other side of the gun, which will give us then our wetted diameter. If you do these 2 readings separately, so if you do a radius on each side of the gun, you'll be able to see if there's a difference on either side from the other. Once we have flagged off the wetted radiuses, we're going to measure using a tape measure or a walking wheel from the gun to that flag on both sides. This measuring tape is 200 feet, and this is more than enough tape for us to individually do each radius.